financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is the estate plan and the financial plan. Pat Simasko.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Good to see you. Jeffrey Kirshner.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Brian Small.
Hey, absolutely a pleasure
My
to be
partner
here.
of many, many years. Nice to see you.
Always a pleasure.
You're starting to look more like each other, too. The more that you work together, it's
Cut,
like you're...
cut. We need one of those clipboards right there. No, I'm kidding. I would love to. I'd like to look as young as you, Brian.
Except you'd be stuck with my hairline.
I'd prefer to have my head populated as it is, though. Okay. All right, so here's what we talk about on the show a lot: estate planning and the need to have an estate plan. But we never really talk about financial planning. And I know you do financial planning.
Yeah, I
don't
do
you,
both.
Pat?
I'm an elder law attorney, which my job is to protect assets on a legal basis, but I'm also a registered investment advisor and insurance agent in annuities. So my philosophy is always try and protect assets on a financial basis, too. They really need to work together.
All right, so here's what I want to do in the show today. I want to cover estate planning on the essential elements and why you need an estate plan, because it's not just about dying, but I want to cover that briefly, and then I want to delve into financial planning, because that's something that we really haven't talked about on the show before. So why do I need an estate plan? Brian, you do estate planning. Why do I need an estate plan?
Because you want your stuff to go where you want it to go, and you don't want the state involved in it at all. You don't want probate. You don't want judges telling you what can and can't happen, and you want it to be as inexpensive as possible. You want it to be as efficient as possible. And on top of it, you need the documents both for the dead and for the living, because the living documents are just as important.
And those are which documents?
The powers of attorney.
They're more important. They're more important now while you're alive. They're the most
critical.
important.
Because when you do Medicaid planning, and if you don't have a valid, durable power of attorney and the person's incapacitated, you don't have time to transfer the assets that you need to do in order to qualify
now
for
you're
Medicaid
going to probate.
planning.
And every mom thinks that she can sign dad's name. She can't. They're IRAs.
I'll go one better. Every mom thinks that they can make a decision for their child. And when their child becomes an 18-year-old, the one thing that they're not is a child anymore. They're an adult. And you can't make a decision for another adult, period, unless you're either court authorized to do it or you've been granted the power of attorney. And so I'll give you a simple example. My daughter, up at college, had a problem with her bill from tuition. It was all screwed up. She asked me to fix it. Well, I called to fix it, and they're like, well, we can't talk to you.
You had to send them power
I
of attorney.
emailed them over my power of attorney over my daughter, and by God, they had to talk to me.
You know, that's interesting. That just shows how the world has changed. Because when my kids were in college, they would talk to me. And it was the same thing. The age of majority was 18. Everyone's gotten more technical, because my God, if they give out private information, they're violating the law.
Think about it in a hospital.
Well, a hospital, they
the
never
hospital, the wife is sitting there, and the husband is unable to make a decision, and the doctor comes in and says, and she says, this is my opinion, this is what I want you to do, and the doctor says, that's great, where's your power of attorney to make the decision?
Yeah, it's worse than that. It's a second marriage, and his daughter's sitting next to the stepmom, and she says, I want this, and the wife says, I want that, because every daughter thinks
who
that
has
she's
the power is the one.
No one's got the power until they have that signed power of attorney.
See, and from my perspective, I deal with people all the time who are disabled, and you never know, daily, things can go wrong. Certainly psychological problems, certainly physical problems, certainly any type of disease process. You could deteriorate very quickly, and you really want to be certain that you have control over your decisions before, God forbid, things go really south for you, and you really need to plan it out ahead of time.
So you need your estate plan done power of attorneys before you get too sick, and your trust done before you die.
Yeah, and right in that, another one that people miss and don't realize why it's important. People try and do their own estate planning.
Oh, God.
Mom puts daughter's name on deed. I have a case right now, same thing. Mom put daughter's name on deed. Daughter goes and gets 2 judgments against her. They then record a judgment lien against the property. And then they find out about it, and daughter then deeds the house back to mom. And mom wants to sell the house, but the liens are of record, and the liens attached to daughter's interest,
Right.
not to mom's
Right.
interest. It's a mega problem.
Worse.
If mom hadn't put daughter's name on the home and just put the house into the trust,
But mom's lady friend, cousin, aunts, girlfriends,
all said to do that.
yeah, they said it was a great
Yeah, and-
idea
and I'll
because
tell
it
you
worked
something.
for them 27 years ago.
Right, and you know what now happens? Is his daughter, let's just say mom
Files
transfers the house to her and her daughter, and daughter has to file bankruptcy. Now there's a for sale sign out in front of mom's house. She goes, but that's not what I intended. But that's the result
Right.
And
of doing it yourself.
Actually, one other problem, and I'm sure you come across this once in a while, are people who have larger estates or have property that they don't want any other family member to know that they have, and so they got to figure out a vehicle how to do it privately without anyone else knowing
problem.
about these pieces of.
All that stuff you're talking about, you just have to come on and
Do
figure
a
out the
proper
plan.
estate plan.
The
Yeah.
plan. So while you're doing that, then you're looking at the legal stuff. You want to protect your assets from creditors and bankruptcy and the nasty in-laws and all these rotten things that happen. But every dime of your money is exposed in the stock market, and the market crashes. You're stuck where we were back in 2008, waiting it out, riding it out. What do we do?
And there's a
I-
point where you can't write it out anymore because you've got to use the money
Well,
for
that's
your
the
retirement.
problem. See, that's the difference. That's the difference.
I want to delve into that right after the back. The other problem that people also miss on estate planning is they come in and they think, okay, leave everything to wife, assuming that she's still living, or
That you
spouse,
predeceased
and
her.
then the wife goes and gets remarries the tennis pro, and leaves everything to the tennis pro, and then the kids are left with nothing. You don't think that's going to happen, but you need to have those discussions in the estate planning meeting
It'll
to make
happen
sure you do the right
every
plan.
time. The second
Is it always
wife,
the tennis pro?
No, it's always her kids. When he dies, it goes to her, and she dies, it's going to her kids. They will figure out a way to cut his kids out of it every single
Particularly
time.
if you, and when you have second
Guaranteed.
marriages, big problem. Take a
Guaranteed.
break. We come back. We're going to talk about financial planning.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
So we've talked about estate planning, but financial planning. I always talk about my 3-point retirement plan. You want to get to the point when you retire where you own your house free and clear, you have zero debt, and then I say, and you have some savings. But what's the way to manage that savings? What's the way to do that financial planning? That's stuff that you do.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about that. What's the goal?
Well, the idea is that you can't leave the money in the bank. In the good old days, you could. Interest rates were 5, 6, 8%.
You get a 0.5% a year.
So all of a sudden that forces people thinking that they have to go in the stock market. And when they're working and you're contributing to your 401ks and the market's going up, and the market goes down, as long as you keep contributing to your retirement accounts, you're buying more shares at a lower dollar amount. So you're buying more shares, so when the market goes back up, it's going up with it.
Dollar cost average.
That's exactly what it's called. But the problem is, financial advisors thinks everyone's our robots. The only thing you can do is ride it out. Your only opportunity to save your money is you have to ride it out, and people are afraid. When the market crashes, people get afraid and they pull out.
Then
they're done.
Right.
But you have to understand that that's what people do. Morningstar, we talked to one of the directors there, people's risk tolerance, and I believe this generally, is based on how well the stock market's doing. The market's up, everybody's in. The market crashes, everybody gets out.
Right.
And that's what'll kill you. So when you're in,
So are you saying just stay in?
well, you have to, in my opinion, you can't time the market. If you think you're going to get out, you will
I
never.
always sit there right now.
You
The
will lose.
market's up, and I sit there. Maybe I should just pull out.
Right.
Put my gains on hold into a stable
and
asset
that's what
fund.
happened last year when Clinton and Trump was worried about who's going to win, and people are going to think the market's crashed. They pulled out, and what happened? They had the biggest run up in the stock.
Quite the opposite.
Crazy.
With me and my wife is that if she hears a negative report,
They're buying.
she starts to get crazy. Or if she looks on Zillow when the house is going up, whatever, she freaks out. I'm like, we're not taking our money out anytime soon.
Now that's the difference.
It's on paper right now.
That's the difference. When you go from work and you want grow, the closer you get to retirement, and in retirement, and you're going to be using the income, you need the money to live off of because you don't have pensions anymore.
And what if you hit the loss then?
Then that'll kill you. If you lose in the beginning of your retirement years and you spend or you pull it out, it'll devastate you later.
I've watched the advice that my
That's called
parents' investment advisor has provided to them, and as they got older, their investments got more and more conservative.
Well, into what though?
Right.
Into bonds. And this is the problem. Bonds has historically been the safe spot. We're in a bond bubble right now, in my opinion. Bond values are based on how interest rates are. So when interest rates are high, bond values are low. When interest rates are low, bond values are high.
Except
where's our interest rates now?
low.
Low. And where are they going to go? It can only go up.
Right.
When? Who knows? But they're being historically kept down. So when the interest rates start going up, and it's well known, for every 1% interest rates rise, bond values can go down between 10 and 15%. So I keep talking about the U.S. debt. We're at $20 trillion. At some point in time, they're going to have to start printing more money, which means inflation and interest rates have to go up, which means those safe investments that you've been talking about is going to drop. So that's where the difference is.
Well,
if
the
you
value
can
of the
ride,
investment is going to
in
drop, or
printing
the
companies.
return on the investment is going to drop?
well, what happens is you need to spend the money. You get afraid, so you're going to pull out of that bond market. You're going to have to cash it in to take your required minimum distributions, to pay for your trip to Florida, to pay for your mortgage on your house, to help your kids out. If you pull out in that down market,
Then
it'll kill you later on.
You can't recoup.
Right.
You always say how much when we're in front of an
Right.
elderly group, how much can you afford to lose?
Right.
How much can you afford to lose?
Nothing.
How much can you afford to lose?
0.00.
Yeah.
And you guys are not the older group.
Right.
Everybody
Thank
answers
you.
that question.
Right.
How much you can afford to
Yeah.
lose? Zero. But when you're working, if I understand your point, when you're working, contributing to your 401k, you don't have any need to pull the money out, and you're getting growth in the market, you can afford to take the losses because you're staying in and you'll recoup them.
As long as you stay in.
But as soon as you're elderly and you're using that money to live off of,
You have to pull a certain amount out. So you better
Then
have
you
a
can't
different
afford to
bucket.
lose. Yeah.
So if you look
On
at
top of that, you're required to pull a certain
Yeah.
amount, the
So-
RMD, right?
if you look at the perfect investment, it's 100% growth, right? 100% protection, and 100% liquidity, right?
that would be like,
That's the perfect plan.
yeah, that's
Does
perfect.
it exist?
Right.
I was going to say,
Not
that'd
in
be
a
a
million
miracle.
years.
Well, I'll take 3 of those, please.
Right.
And I want 20%.
So now you're retired, you're 65, you're 67, you're 68. That person's number one would be what? What's their number one priority? Out of those three, you can't have it all, but you can have bits and pieces.
Protection. It's not going to go down.
What's number 2?
Growth.
2. And
I got
number
it.
3 is liquidity. If you look at virtually every one of their statements, from their retirement accounts, their 401ks, all those different ones, and they're in the market, what's that primary goal? What's their existing plan's primary goal? We'll talk about that after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. Want to remind you to listen to us Tuesdays 11:30 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. for Law and Reality Live on Praise 102.7. Then on Thursdays 3 to 4 p.m. for Law and Reality Now with Cliff Russell, 9:10 a.m. Sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. We have seminars coming up. On Wednesday, January 31st, 6 to 7:30 p.m., Elimination of the Estate Plan Procrastinator. This is a seminar designed to stop the problem of forgetting to do your estate plan when you want to do it. Attend at January 31st. We're going to go through all the essential elements of a proper plan, how to avoid problems in proper planning. The whole goal is to protect both your spouse and your children. Attendees get a free gold certificate worth $300 off of any estate plan. Sign up at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com. Then on Wednesday, February 21st, 6 to 7:30 p.m., the credit card bills are killing me. We're going to have a seminar dealing with the steps that you need to take to eliminate debt, get rid of that credit card debt, so that instead of paying your credit cards every month, you start putting that money away for savings. We're going to go through solutions using bankruptcy, solutions outside of bankruptcy. Jeff Kirshner will join us for a special segment on addressing disability claims. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. Also remember, you're always available to come in for a free consultation. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online on the websites to sign up. If you've got a debt issue, financial issue with Brian, tax issues with Jenny, workers' comp, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner, elder law issues with Pat, business issues with me. Just sign up. Free consultations are always available. Also, go to the websites and check out free reports. We have a new report posted, a new article that I just wrote on how to save your home from foreclosure. Also an article on business formations, loans and grants for small businesses in Michigan, and the Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Simasko Law, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. All right, so when we came up to the break, you were talking about clients and you're looking at their where they stand now.
Yeah.
Well, how's the process work? Let's say someone wants to meet with you.
So
when they come in, they call you up and you'll sit down.
Yeah, they come in and we talk about their goals and their objectives and stuff like that, and we ask them how much did they lose in 2008, and they say, oh, we lost 37%. Well, would you want that to happen again? And they say, well, we came back. Yes, you came back, but now you're 8 years into it, and you're going to be living off of this money. What are your primary goals? One is...
if I'm coming in to see you now, and I say to you, well, and I've been in the market, okay, and I haven't worried about the what if it loses, and it hasn't, and I made 15% this year.
Right.
What do we then do?
Well, at that point, if you say now going forward, if the market crashes again, how important is it to protect that money? And they say,
real important.
Most people that I see, they're older, they say protection's number one, then they want it to grow. But you look at their actually statements, and they have this mutual fund and that mutual fund and this stock and that stock, and all of them went down back in 08. Their number one priority in their existing plan is growth first, then protection, growth, liquidity, then protection. They're upside down. So you have to take a look at going forward from this point forward.
You have to realign them to get to those priorities.
Yeah, because they say, well, if the market crashes, I'll just ride it out. Will you be able to? Can you stomach another 8 years? Are there other plans out there available that protect the principal first, then get the growth second? And that's wealth preservation.
Yeah. See, where I'm at in my mind is when I get to the point where I'm ready to retire and I have that savings in IRA and in retirement funds and non-retirement funds, I want to have a plan that says, even if I make nothing on it, I have enough to survive. If I make 4 or 5%, I want that to be kind of my goal so that what I'm leaving in there earns that amount.
Right.
If it does better, great. But I want some assurance that I'm in a program that can't cause me to lose.
And there's
is that available?
There's a ton of plans out there. They're called indexed annuities. Indexed annuities. The general concept is you protect your principal first, Market crashes, you don't lose anything. And if the market goes up, you share in the growth. You don't get all the growth, because if you get all the growth, you have to get all the losses. But you share in the growth, and as it grows, it gets locked in during different time
Is
periods.
there any risk in that?
The risk is if you cash in early, there's a big penalty. But liquidity is typically the last thing that people are worried about. They just need enough money, and there's always a liquidity component built into
I mean,
it.
I could take my non-retirement funds, do that because I'm going to use the retirement funds first because I have to
Opposite.
take the.
You use the retirement money first because even though
You have to take it.
your 401k and your IRA is 100% liquid, but if you take out too much, what happens?
Pay tax on it.
You're right. And no one wants to pay too much taxes. So the design is to stretch that out over your whole lifetime. And while you're pulling it out, lock in the principal. Then as it grows, you lock in the growth in stages. And that's what a lot of people do. The biggest question is, you've been around a long time, Ken.
Not that long.
You're
42.
You're 42. Most
20.
people don't
You guys
even
are
know
20.
about these plans. And these plans have been around for years and years and years. And the question is, why don't they know about them? And the answer is,
The regular financial.
what kind of
planners
car
don't
do you drive, Ken?
Lincoln.
If I went to 50 Lincoln dealers, how many times would they talk about a BMW?
Never.
Why?
Because they sell Lincolns.
That's your answer.
So you're saying if I would have gone to the BMW dealership, I would know about these plans?
Yes. Yes.
But you know nothing about
absolutely
Lincolns.
right.
You have to explore your options.
You have
in
to
other
explore
words.
your options. If you walk in and say, oh my God, there's...
Which your point goes right to what we talk about all the time. If you go to the bankruptcy guy, if you've got a
Yes.
financial problem,
Yes.
he's going to put you into a bankruptcy because that's the only thing he does. If you go to the tax guy, he's going to say, you got to
Amen.
do an offer and compromise. He's not going to put you into a bankruptcy when, as we talked about last week, you can discharge taxes in bankruptcy. Same thing. So you've got to explore your options. So you do all of you cover all of those ranges, kind of similar to our approach.
Absolutely. And as a lawyer first, we have a fiduciary obligation to the client above everything else. As a financial planner, I also have that same fiduciary obligation. So it's not what's best for me, it's what's best for the clients versus a typical agent that is just, he's working for the man.
So if somebody's interested in financial planning, call you, set up an appointment, you'll
Yeah.
come in, you'll meet with him, you'll go over the
Absolutely.
whole thing. That's the idea. So it's no different in financial planning than it is on financial problems. You need to explore your options in order to make the right decision. And you have to lay out all your different options to figure out what's the smartest one, how to meet your goals.
Absolutely correct.
Thanks, Pat. Jeff, good seeing you. Brian, always a pleasure. We'll be
Always a
back
pleasure.
next week with Law and Reality.